Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Welcome to Hammer Space Recording. My name is Troy Nababan. Today we're just going to do a little bit of a addition to the video I did a couple of weeks ago about my looping rig. I skipped a couple of things, maybe kind of forgot to talk about a couple of things. So yeah, just a little addendum to that, I guess might be the right way of saying it. So for starters, thank you very much for anyone that did check out the video and anyone that's liked the video so far and subscribed to the channel, because I really appreciate it. I'm going to continue to do some more Synergy demos soon and a few other guitar related things, some amps and some guitars and whatnot. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. So let's just quickly talk about this board. I guess one thing I didn't really touch on when I was discussing this board and as to why I put the thing together in the first place, obviously partly it was to be able to do the rhythm tracks and it was to do the guitar sounds and it was to make it sound kind of like a band as much as possible, as much as one person can really do. But the other really important function of this board for me, and the reason I'm running it the way that I am, one thing I've noticed with a lot of people when they use loopers is it's like, all right, everybody, everyone stop what you're doing. I'm going to start playing this song now. So I'm going to loop 20 seconds of this song, right? Let's loop that and we'll get it into the groove. And now we're going to add the next part in. And so 20 seconds will go by and they might put a bass line on top and then they might add another part and they might add another part. And it's cool and it's really fun and you can be very compositional about how you put your tracks together like that. But the certain gigs that I do, if it's a reasonably busy pub and people are there to dance and you're there to be entertainment, I don't find that side to be particularly entertaining as a viewer, at least as a punter. So what I really tried to do with this is make it so that if I want to start a song, I can do it really quick. If someone in the audience throws out a song that I know how to play, but I don't have it programmed in the pedal, I can get it up, or it's close enough I can get it up within a matter of seconds. And some of this happens where, you still, the list of gigs I do, might say, thank you very much for coming and we are the name of the band and, get a drink at the bar and we're playing till this time. There's always a bit of chat between songs. So in that time, that's when I'm going to be getting the next song up or setting a tempo if I haven't got that stuff ready to go. And then when it comes time to play the song, we can just launch into it straight away. I kind of think that's important as a performer, to just make it a pretty concise package that the audience can enjoy without sort of just waiting 3 minutes before they can actually start dancing. I want to finish one song, move straight on to the next one. So yeah, these elements really help with that. Programming in the drum, the tempos for starters for the common songs that I do in a gig, and the drum beats saves a lot of time. I've run this rig where everything's been tap tempo, and if you have the Morningstar controller, I think any of them will have a similar thing to this. The tempo menu that they have within the pedal, which is the one I just brought up there, you can literally just tap in any tempo that you like, and it will play for you. Or you can just, I'll put in a, so we're at 116 at the moment. We can incrementally go down a tiny bit if you need to. And I have had situations where before I had the Morningstar, I would just tap tempo in using I think it's the stop button on the RC500. I think I've changed the button function, so it doesn't work like that anymore. But I did have the stop button to be like stop and tempo, like tap tempo, I think. And I just screwed it up so much. Like I would tap it in a little too fast or a little too slow. And then I'm trying to get it done quickly so I can move on to the next song. And yeah, as a result, the song just doesn't really feel comfortable. So having it all laid out in like a set list, so type of thing like I've got here, has just made that side of the gig really quick, as well as cycling through the various drum patterns and all that sort of stuff too. So yeah, that's been really important for me. When I'm doing a loop song, the one that I just did then in the little intro part, that's probably a uncommon way that I would do a loop, and the only reason is I in that song I just want to be able to kick in and out the little main, like that part in and out as the song goes on. Most of the time, like I demonstrated last week, I'll start the song with a bass line or a guitar part and pretty much, start looping from there and get the song up and happening. Obviously if that's not the way that you want to do it, if that's not the sort of music that you're doing, it's a completely like different thing and it's up to you how you want to do it. But that's worked pretty well for me. So a couple of other things with this, I want to sex you up, name of the song, but also, maybe you too, if you're watching this video. A couple of other things on this. I do use this rig occasionally with drummers, and I've done it in two ways. There's the cowboy way, and that would be that I turn off the rhythm function, which right now, because of this is where this system can get a little bit complicated, but I've sent the RC500 clock signal, like tempo, and it's kind of it's like set to a specific tempo at the moment. So I can't play a freeform loop into the RC500 without it automatically trying to sync to a tempo. So I'll demonstrate this really quick. You can see the track select, which is my rhythm part, is currently not lit up at the moment. So if I just hit the record button and start looping something like this, it's not really a janky, even loop. It's it starts to try to tempo sync to a tempo that is not what the song is set to. So that's kind of a little issue that I found. Now to go back to what I was saying, like using this rig with a drummer, when I first turned the unit on, the RC500 on, if I turn the rhythm track off, like any tempo sync stuff, then what I can do is just play any loop chord thing in, and the tempo that I play at is the same tempo as what everything will loop. So kind of like what a normal traditional looper will do. And I can send that to, foldback speakers or to a drummer in in-ears or whatever, and we can all just play to that loop and it's all like okay. However, in some scenarios, like if the foldback is poor, or if you're playing with a drummer that's not familiar with playing with loops and that sort of thing, then it's really, really easy for that loop to just come in and out of sync, and in a way that sort of either train wrecks a song or just makes the looping not usable whatsoever. It's particularly bad when it's just bass and the bass isn't loud enough, because maybe it's just like the foldback speakers are too quiet and the bass frequencies don't like travel to the back of the stage where a drummer might be. And I've had a lot of issues with that in the past. What is really important is that there is, consistent time. I've tried to do this before where the drummer will play hi-hats to help me play in time, and then I'll record the loop to that tempo, and that can sort of help. But even really good drummers, not all of them, but some of them start to play musically and just shift a little bit. It's a musical thing. Like maybe you just want to make that chorus just a tiny bit faster. And if you're not switched on, and if everybody in the band is not switched on, all of a sudden after about like 4 bars, the loop can just go out a little bit. And as a result, I just usually kill the loop completely. Maybe try and bring it in later, but sometimes that doesn't work. The alternative, or another like similar thing, is like we might have a song where the loop just kind of goes out for a bar or like 2 bars, just again for musical reasons. Maybe you just get to the end of a verse and you will drop everything down to nothing so you can come back in with the punchy chorus. And yeah, sometimes everyone doesn't come in exactly at the right tempo, and it all feels a bit like squished together and concertinaed. So it can work, and there are really great drummers I've played with where it's super transparent, but it's not every drummer, unfortunately. So as a result, the other way that I have this set up, and you know, here's my rhythm track. There's just a drum groove there. I have a setting in the RC500. Don't ask me why it's patch number 22. It just happens to be number 22 that I have stuff programmed in. But I can actually flick this to number 24. And it might be difficult to see, but it says MLS Click. The band that I play in is called Moves Like Swagger. I didn't name the band. That is the singer's problem. And so MLS Moves Like Swagger. MLS Click sounds like this. Which, I mean, it's just a metronome, it's just a click sound. That is something that I can send to drummers and in-ears, which is typically how I would do it, provided there's a spare send on whatever mixing desk that we're running. And that way, if I start a loop or if I do any looping stuff whatsoever, they have that constant click going in their foldback, so on their in-ears or whatever it might be. That makes it way easier, and that's always my preference when it comes to doing like a trio gig with a drummer to get things to sync up. And yeah, they typically don't really have an issue with that. It helps. Sometimes what happens too when I'm setting these loops up is it's a musical thing, right? I might be playing a 4-bar pattern, and just because someone wants to join in, I might get a drummer that starts to play hi-hats or just like start to do some fills and stuff, maybe in the 3rd bar of the loop to make it feel like a song. And that's really cool. But if their tempo isn't 100% what my tempo is, some drummers do this. They don't listen to the tempo that's there. They do the one that that it should be. Even I like to push it sometimes. It's cool when you're not playing with a loop, but if you're trying to set something, that can set my timing out. And then as you like hit the loop button, I guess, everything starts to go out of sync by just a little bit. And then you get half the loop at one tempo and the other half at a different tempo, and it feels very strange. So yeah, sending the click out is a way easier way of doing it. And the way I do that is, I believe it's an actual drum pattern on the RC500 that is just like a metronome sound. Why this is useful is that it still chases to all of the tempos that I've set up for the specific songs that we use. So if I'm doing this one here, we're at 88 BPM. Or if we're doing this one over here, we're at 116. So I don't have to have double up of programming on anything. And the MC8, I didn't have to go and like literally do any program with that whatsoever. I just flick onto a different like memory on the RC500. I have a long press programmed on the D button on the MC8, which takes me back to the main menu. If you have a Morningstar controller, you probably know these things, but like each button can be like you press it and it'll do something, or when you release the button, it will do something, or you can double tap things to make them do things, or you can long press a button to make it do things. So it's really versatile. It's a great MIDI control, and I've probably used it, maybe not to its full extent because of how complicated you can get with your MIDI programming if you're into that sort of thing. But I've used it's helped a lot with how I've needed to do my gigs, so that's been really cool. So yeah, moving on. I wanted to just quickly mention this guitar, which I use for these gigs. So this is a Jason Isbell signature Telecaster. This is the only guitar that I use for this gig. This is the gig that I do, and the reason that I put all this together was for this specific duo, and it was an acoustic guitar gig, and I love playing acoustic guitar, and I love my Cole Clark acoustic guitar in particular that I've been gigging with for like almost 15 years. But I think I mentioned in the last video, when it came to certain stages and certain PAs, and I was trying to play bass lines, the bass just started feeding back all the time through, at specific volumes, to the point where it was like I was sacrificing something at every gig. Like I'd have to hack up the fold back or the front of house just to get enough volume out of it. And also it's not as easy to rip solos on an acoustic guitar just because of the strings and all that sort of stuff. So I decided to start playing it on electric instead. And that's kind of why I have like one sound that I use for all these songs, because I still think about it as being an acoustic gig. It's even though I'll do some stuff that might be like hard rock or rockier stuff, I kind of feel like the contrast in tone between different songs, between like a dirtier sound and a cleaner sound, it just doesn't feel appropriate for like a duo, even though it's got the rhythm track behind it. So like a cleaner, more broadly, not sculpted, but like a more broader tone with more bottom end and stuff in it and more high end, that kind of works for my approach to this stuff, at least. So I use the Isbell Telecaster. All the electronics and stuff in it are stock. I bought this in 2021 because I think double bound Telecasters look freaking awesome. There you go. I'm a big Jason Isbell fan as well. I don't play like him and I don't play his sort of music, but when this guitar came out, I thought, well, that's going to be the guitar for me. Short anecdote on this as well, and hopefully this isn't too boring for everybody, but I had a Telecaster about 10 years ago, a Warmouth Telecaster, and it was the only telly that I had. I didn't do a great job of putting it together, but I still played it a lot. I used it in a lot of sessions, used it for a lot of gigs. I had a quilted maple top on it, on a ash body, I think it was, and a like really nice bird's eye maple neck on it, and stainless steel frets. So I had that guitar. I unfortunately, it disappeared one day. I still don't know where it went. It was at a recording studio that I used to work at, and I went in to get it one day and it wasn't on the rack with all of the other guitars, which weirdly, it was sitting right next to my incredibly expensive Sir, which is not quite a one of a kind, but it may as well be, and some acoustics, and that Telecaster was the one that wasn't there. So I called around, couldn't find it anywhere, just gone. I went to replace it. I saw a double bound telly in a music shop that I really liked. I think it was like a custom shop one. And I thought, man, that's really cool, and grabbed it off and played it. I'm like, oh, this feels pretty cool. How much is it? Oh, it's $5,000. Okay, might put it back on the shelf. But I just got inspired to go buy a new telly. And so I ended up getting, after a lot of searching around, I actually found a blonde road-worn Telecaster, this one. I got this guitar, and I played a lot of Telecasters before I bought it. It's just a road-worn. It's nothing special. It looked pretty dinged up when I bought it because it is a road-worn, and I've made it significantly worse looking and treated it very, very poorly. But it's a wicked guitar, and I've gigged with it so much. It's got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it. But it's made in Mexico, and that's a big turn off to some people, but it's been the opposite to me. I have, I think, 3 or 4 Mexican Fenders, or, my Charvel, I think, is made in Mexico as well. So every single one I've had's been really reliable, and because it's not as valuable, like money-wise, I feel like I can, treat it with disrespect in a way, but I'm not like throwing it out windows or anything like that. But if it gets stolen, I'd feel bad about it, but I feel like my investment isn't completely like out the window. Whereas the more bougie guitars, I don't really like to take them out as much because I just don't want to lose them. My Sir, for example, as much as I love that guitar, it's worth so much money that I kind of treat it really, really carefully. So the Mexican guitars I'm cool with. But anyway, bought the blonde telly, and that's great. Loved it. But it ain't a double bound Telecaster. So again, when this was announced and this came out, I went and bought one pretty much as soon as they came to the shops. I like it a lot. If I'm being completely 100% honest, it wasn't my favorite guitar when I first bought it. In fact, the day I went to buy it, I also played a sparkly, I think it was a Paisley Telecaster, like a Brad Paisley signature one in like a silver sparkle. Which maybe was a pine body, if I'm thinking correctly. And I actually liked the way that guitar felt a lot more. But I went to buy a double bound Telecaster, a Jason Isbell one in particular. That's a guitar I wanted, and that's the one I went and got. And I went and gigged it a little bit. It had a couple little things with the frets that I didn't like. And so Tim at Williams Guitars went and refretted it with stainless steel frets, like he has on most of my guitars, set it up really well, and it plays great. Other thing I don't really like about this guitar so much is, like, what I loved about this one, one of the things I love about this one, is it's a nitro finish on it, and it has got real dinged up and it kind of wears a little bit. Whereas, you know, I'm not sure what the finish is on this, and it kind of was, you know, it's sort of road worn already, but it's got a spot here in the back, like a wear mark, which it's been lacquered over, which I think is kind of lame. Like, if you're going to do a road worn guitar, make it like, you know, properly worn, so I can touch the bare wood. I want to contribute to the battle scars. I don't want it to be like, you know, I didn't buy the other road one because it was scarred up. I bought it because it felt really comfortable to play. And yeah, I think battle scars on a guitar, particularly a Telecaster, are very cool and very worth it. And yeah, the other thing is the cap on the pickup select switch. I just kept knocking it off and it disappeared several times. So I have a different one on there, which hasn't actually moved since I've got it. But now it's been set up. It plays great. Feels really good and sounds really good. I find the pickup balance is really nice. It's not too boomy in the neck, and it's not too shrill in the bridge. So yeah, that balance works really great for what I like to play. But one thing about this guitar is it's set up in D standard. So the whole thing is dropped down a tone. It's just to accommodate the singer, because he's got some vocal things that require some like songs to be in just lower keys, a lot of them to be in lower keys. So as a result, this guitar has got much heavier strings on it. I'm on Ernie Ball Burleys. I'm not sure where the packet is. I think I've thrown it away. I just restrung it last week. But these are Burley 11s to 54s or 52s, maybe 52s. And I found that for starters, like in like lower tuning, the like 9s and 10s, like I'd like 10s. I'm pretty comfortable on those for most guitars, even in E flat. But it was just a little too kind of slinky feeling in D standard, which I didn't really like as much. And the 11s felt like good. They just felt a bit more stable and kind of more like playing the acoustic guitar, like what I originally put this rig together for. However, one other thing that I noticed, and the reason I'm on the Burleys, is with the bassline stuff that I have to play, having more stability in the lower strings is important, and more rigidity, I should say. So I found that occasionally I would sort of play it, and the tracking on the octave pedal that I use in the RC5 and the HX Stomp just kind of flubbed out a little bit or tracked to the wrong note. And I find with a thicker string, it just is a lot more stable. And I guess it's the A string as well. Both of them are a lot more stable. And so, yeah, it doesn't quite feel like a bass steel, but it's more closer. It sounds more natural and is a little bit easier to play. And I don't try and pick too hard, but if I do happen to hit the string a little bit harder, I know it's not going to flub out and fret out and cause any issues. I do have a really odd quirk on this guitar, actually, on the low E string, which is, I guess, the low D string, in that the saddle screw tends to go down quite a bit, or go up, I guess, like the low D string or low E string kind of like lowers itself over time. So every few months, I've just got to like remember to jack it up a little bit. And funnily enough, like the last time it happened, I was at a gig and I just noticed that something was feeling a little bit strange. So I put a pick in the flathead screw on the saddle and just wound it up a little bit. That actually worked pretty well and got me through the gig with no issues. So yeah, I've used this guitar ever since. It's a shame because I've played it so much. I would like to use it for studio recordings, or I'd like to use it for other rock gigs that I do. But it has been set up with heavier strings in mind. And so I'm kind of like reluctant to put a bunch of 10s on it and have to worry about the truss rod changing and shifting. And I actually did do a little not experiment. It's not that at all. I was curious as to what the tension was with this set of strings in this tuning compared to what I'm used to with 10s in standard. And interestingly enough, like even at even tuned down, they still have more tension than what a standard set of 10s would have by, it's about 10 pounds or something like that, and a lot more than what 9s would be as well. So yeah, I'm never been afraid to play heavier strings, just because I kind of find when I'm doing bends and all that sort of stuff. I've got reasonably big hands, and I'm not like a Superman, super duper strong or anything like that, but I have a tendency to overbend, and I think it just kind of reins me back. It makes it a little bit more difficult to put it out of tune. And playing the songs that I have to play for this band, it kind of helps a little bit. So yeah, that's the guitar. Jason Isbell Telecaster. I like it because it looks cool, and looking cool is the only reason to play music at all. I think we all know that. So with that being said, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with the board. I've got some other specific things about how I set up some of the MIDI, like MIDI pedal and the RC500 and stuff, which I said I'd like to talk about. I've had a couple of messages about that as well. So if there's any specifics people would like to know about the MIDI programming or the looping and how to approach it, just let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to talk about it. And until next time, peace out and happy Black Friday. Please, if you're watching this video today or over the Black Friday weekend and you want to hear some cool Tonex sounds, go over to my website, hammerspacerecording.com, and you can pick up some Tonex profiles. I've got 5 amps over there and some impulse responses and bits and pieces. Everything's 50% off. I think that's enough talking for one day. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.